Laura Ingraham smiled at the camera in the Fox News studio. Tonight our special guest is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. We're going to educate her a little bit. But Jasmine's response ended Laura's career. Laura, stop doing propaganda and learn to do real journalism. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because tonight you'll witness one of the biggest confrontations in American television history. The Fox News studios in Manhattan had never been this tense. Laura Ingraham, at 58 with 20 years of television experience, was known as the Queen of Primetime. The conservative viewers' favorite, Ingraham had turned tearing apart liberal politicians into an art form with her sharp tongue. Tonight, she sat at her desk, stalking her new target. Across from her stood Jasmine Crockett. The 33-year-old Texas Congresswoman, a Harvard Law School graduate and former public defender, was known for her legal arena experience. But in Laura's plan, the young Congresswoman was just another liberal target. Ingraham had confidently told her producers, "This will be easy, I'll finish her in 10 minutes." The studio atmosphere was electric. Cameras ready, lights adjusted, and 4 million viewers waiting for the live broadcast. On Laura's desk were carefully arranged notes, every criticism point she had gathered about Jasmine. Her youth, inexperience, radical ideas. She planned to use these to humiliate her. Jasmine appeared calm. Her navy blazer, professional posture, and the leather briefcase she carried gave her the complete appearance of a legal expert. But Laura hadn't noticed the depth of her preparation. Before coming to Fox News, Jasmine had researched for weeks, studied Laura's past broadcasts, and prepared herself for every possibility. When the cameras rolled, Laura's confidence was sky high. Good evening, I'm Laura Ingraham and you're watching The Ingraham Angle. Tonight we have Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from Texas as our special guest. We're going to educate her a little bit. She wasn't even trying to hide the condescending tone in her words. Jasmine smiled slightly. She had seen this type of behavior before, the attempt by older established figures to belittle young, talented women. But she knew exactly how to play this game. Congresswoman Crockett, Laura continued, you and your friends constantly criticize America. I wonder why you hate this country so much. The question was loaded with traps and designed to resonate with Laura's audience. Laura, Jasmine began in a calm voice. First, thank you for having me on the show. Loving America requires working to make it more just. Criticism is part of patriotism. Her response was measured but determined. Laura frowned. This wasn't the type of defense she had expected. But you constantly attack our country's institutions. Police, courts, even the Constitution. She added, the irritation in her voice growing. Could you clarify which attacks you're referring to? Jasmine asked. Because what I do is use the oversight authority the Constitution gives me. This is the system our founding fathers designed. The first crack appeared here. Laura couldn't provide concrete examples and seemed to flounder against Jasmine's legal knowledge. But she collected herself and decided to go on the attack. Listen, little lady, Laura's voice hardened. I was doing this job before you were born. You don't need to teach me how politics works. Her condescending attitude was no longer hidden. Something flashed in Jasmine's eyes. Little lady, she repeated, with dangerous calm in her voice. Laura, if you have a problem with my age, we can discuss my legal education and experience. The producers in the studio felt the tension. This was moving into much more personal territory than a normal political interview. Laura's plan was backfiring. Jasmine appeared much more prepared than expected. Experience. Laura laughed. You just got to Congress. I've been in this business for 20 years, interviewed presidents, closely followed historic events. She was trying to position herself as superior. Doing propaganda for 20 years doesn't count as journalism experience, Laura, Jasmine replied. The words exploded like a bomb in the studio. Viewers were shocked, producers looked at each other in panic, and Laura's face turned red with anger. The war bells had rung. Laura Ingraham faced the biggest challenge of her career and didn't yet know this was just the beginning. The shock on Laura Ingraham's face was measured in seconds. In her 20-year television career, no one had ever called her propaganda so directly, and certainly not in front of millions of viewers. But as her anger took control, she was about to make her biggest mistake. Propaganda. Laura's voice rose. I'm a real journalist. You're just a politician pushing the liberal agenda. It's my job to inform Americans of the facts." She pointed her finger at Jasmine, like a teacher scolding a student. Jasmine remained calm but pulled out a folder from her briefcase. "Real journalism, Laura? Then let's talk about facts." When she opened the folder, dozens of documents emerged. "These are fact-check reports of your broadcasts over the last 5 years." Laura's confidence began to shake. "What are you trying to do? Is this an ambush?" she asked, but the panic in her voice couldn't be hidden. "No, Laura, this is research," Jasmine replied. "What real journalists do. You gave false information about the 2020 elections 47 times. You distorted scientific facts about COVID-19 23 times. And about climate change." She was placing documents on the table one by one. "Wait a minute." Laura tried to intervene. "This is my show, I ask the questions. And I'm answering," Jasmine continued in a cold voice. "In 2021, you claimed election results were fake. Even after courts rejected these claims more than 60 times, you continued propaganda. This isn't journalism, Laura, this is disinformation." The silence in the studio was deafening. Even the cameramen were holding their breath. Laura Ingraham, one of Fox News' most powerful figures, was being systematically dismantled on live television. I share information from reliable sources." Laura had moved to a defensive position. "Which sources?" Jasmine asked sharply. "Because I have an analysis of your sources here too." She pulled out another document. 73% of your sources are unverifiable social media posts or debunked conspiracy theories." Laura's face had turned red. This is an attack. You're ambushing me." She was starting to lose control. "Not an attack, Laura, accountability," Jasmine replied. "You've been misleading the public for 20 years and today there's a price for that. Your viewers deserve the truth." "My viewers trust me," Laura shouted. "Because you're deceiving them," Jasmine continued in a calm but determined voice. "You don't tell them the truth, you tell them what they want to hear. This isn't journalism, this is manipulation." Laura stood up, threw her microphone on the desk. "I won't tolerate this anymore. This is my show. And I'm an elected representative." Jasmine also stood up. "The public has the right to hear the truth from the media. You're violating that right, Laura." The producers in the control room were in panic mode. The live broadcast was turning into a disaster, but ratings were skyrocketing. It had started going viral on social media within seconds. "I've been in this chair for 20 years. Laura screamed. "Who are you to criticize me? I'm a Harvard Law graduate, former public defender, and elected by the people's votes," Jasmine replied. "You're just someone who lies for ratings." Laura's anger had reached its peak. "Lies? I tell America's truths." "Which truths, Laura?" Jasmine pulled out more documents from her folder. The lie that ivermectin was a COVID treatment? The lie that January 6th was a tourist visit? Or the lie that climate change is fake? Each question was like a blow, cornering Laura. I just provide space for alternative views," she mumbled. "There's no such thing as alternative facts, Laura," Jasmine replied sharply. "Either there's truth or there are lies. And you chose the lie side." Viewers were watching this dramatic confrontation with bated breath. #LauraExposed was trending on Twitter. Laura Ingraham's 20-year career was being demolished on live television by a 33-year-old congresswoman. "This conversation ends here," Laura turned to the cameras. "We're going to commercial break." "No, Laura," Jasmine raised her voice. "The truth is just beginning. And you can't run away." During the commercial break, Laura Ingraham's team was in panic mode. The producer was frantically shouting into his headset, "Stop her. This is a disaster." But Jasmine Crockett hadn't moved from her seat. She was organizing her documents on the desk, as if preparing for a court hearing. "How can this be happening?" Laura was muttering to herself. "She's just a rookie congresswoman." But the truth was, she had underestimated her and was beginning to pay the price. When the broadcast resumed, Laura was trying to pull herself together. "Welcome back. We're having A difficult discussion with Congresswoman Crockett. The self-confidence in her voice had completely disappeared. Not difficult, Laura, necessary, Jasmine replied. Because you need to account for the damage you've done to American media. Damage. Laura tried to recover. I defend conservative values. I protect traditional America. Which traditional America, Laura? Jasmine interrupted her. The tradition that journalism should be objective? Because you've already violated that. She pulled out another folder from her desk. This is your advertisers list. In the last 2 years, 37 major companies have withdrawn their sponsorship from your show because they don't want to be associated with fake news. Laura's face went pale. This information wasn't public, and she didn't know how it had gotten into Jasmine's hands. My Pillow, Gold Bond, Cash for Gold. Jasmine read the names one by one. The remaining ones stay because they're afraid of your viewer base. This isn't success, Laura. This is blackmail. This is a personal attack. Laura shouted desperately. No, this is business analysis, Jasmine replied coldly. You make money by deceiving the public. And that's a crime. Laura stood up. Crime? Who are you to accuse me? I'm a legal expert. Jasmine also stood up. And disinformation is a crime, Laura. What you do is deliberately misleading the public. The tension in the studio had reached its peak. The cameras were recording this historic confrontation second by second. I've been doing this job for 20 years. Laura screamed. You just got here yesterday. Doing wrong for 20 years isn't experience, Laura, Jasmine replied. That's stubbornness. And now you're paying for it. Laura sat at her desk, put her head in her hands. This isn't fair. Jasmine's voice rose. Was it fair to the people who attacked the Capitol building on January 6th? Was it fair to the COVID patients who died because of your lies? Was it fair to the environment damaged because of your climate lies? Each question was like an arrow targeting Laura. As viewers watched this dramatic collapse, the event was creating a tsunami on social media. I just shared my opinion, Laura mumbled weakly. Not opinion, Laura, lies, Jasmine corrected sharply. And there's a price for lying. Laura raised her head. Her eyes were tearful. On the biggest day of her career, she was experiencing the biggest defeat. What do you want from me? She asked, with no strength left in her voice. The truth, Jasmine replied. Apologize to your viewers. Admit that you deceived them. And learn journalism ethics. Laura looked at the cameras. Millions of viewers were waiting for this moment. Would she announce the end of her career, or would she sink even deeper? She began, but her voice was trembling. Maybe I made some mistakes. Not mistakes, Laura, Jasmine interrupted. Deliberate lies. And you know it. Laura's resistance was completely broken. Her 20-year career had been destroyed on live television by a 33-year-old congresswoman. Yes, she whispered. I know. Laura Ingraham's yes, I know confession exploded like a bomb in the Fox News studio. At the biggest moment of her 20-year television career, she had admitted her biggest defeat. But Jasmine Crockett wasn't finished yet. You know, Laura. Jasmine's voice now dominated the entire studio. Then why did you continue? Why did you continue to deliberately deceive millions of Americans? Laura's tears couldn't be stopped anymore. Because this is my job. I needed ratings, I needed sponsors. Jasmine exclaimed. There's the truth. You lied for money. People's lives, democracy, truth. All of it was worthless next to your money in the bank. Viewers were listening to this confession in shock. One of Fox News' most powerful figures had admitted on live television that she was a propagandist. Laura tried to defend herself. You just what, Laura? Jasmine interrupted. You just attacked American democracy. You just endangered public health. You just sabotaged climate science. Laura bowed her head. I'm sorry, not to me. Jasmine slammed her fist on the desk. Apologize to your viewers. Apologize to the millions of people you deceived. Apologize to the families of those who were harmed because of your lies. There was deep silence in the studio. Laura Ingraham, one of America's most powerful media figures, had been completely defeated. Viewers, Laura turned to the cameras trembling. I misled you. I distorted the truth. And I'm sorry for that. Jasmine wasn't satisfied yet. Not enough, Laura. Be specific. What did you lie about? Laura's voice cracked. The 2020 elections weren't fake. COVID vaccines, work, climate change, is real. As each word came out of Laura's mouth, her 20-year career was collapsing. But Jasmine's final blow was coming. And most importantly, Laura, Jasmine stood up, you're not a real journalist. You're a propaganda machine. And this show. She turned to the cameras, this show is propaganda. Your show is propaganda. The words created the most devastating moment in Fox News history. Laura completely collapsed. She put her microphone on the desk, stood up and headed to leave the studio. Where are you going, Laura? Jasmine asked. I can't do this, Laura replied, crying. This is over. Everything is over. Yes, Laura, Jasmine confirmed in a cold voice. It's over for you. But it's a new beginning for real journalism. As Laura left the studio, the cameras focused on Jasmine Crockett. She calmly and decisively addressed the viewers. American people, what you saw today is not just one person's collapse. This is the exposure of fake media. Laura Ingraham is just one example. These kinds of propaganda machines are everywhere. My request to you is this: continue to question the media. Seek the truth. Fact check. Because our democracy depends on your informed decisions. And remember, Jasmine smiled, truth always wins. Today it won too. When the cameras stopped, there was deep silence in the studio. Producers, cameramen, technical crew, everyone knew they had just witnessed television history. When it exploded on social media, the event reached global proportions. Hashtag Laura Ingraham Exposed became #1 in worldwide trending. The video was watched 50 million times in 24-hour CNN, MSNBC, BBC. All news channels made it the main story. Harvard Law School congratulated Jasmine. Fox News stock dropped 12%. Laura Ingraham announced a resignation the next day. Personal reasons were cited, but everyone knew the truth. Jasmine Crockett, after that night, became one of America's most respected politicians. Her book on media accountability became a bestseller. And most importantly, a new era began in American media. Now no one could lie with the excuse of just a TV show. Because at any moment a Jasmine Crockett could emerge and tell the truth. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Share your thoughts about this legendary confrontation in the comments. Which fake media figure would you like to see exposed in our next video? Because truth always wins.